The United States had been suffering from homelessness for a long time, and more noticeably in the 1600s, as DCEH.org stated in their website, that homelessness was seen as a moral deficiency or a character flaw. It was generally believed that a good Christian that is under God's grace would naturally have their needs met. They also state how if one was found homeless in the 1600s, a person or family would come upon town and to prove their worth to the community's religious leaders. If not, they would not be so accepting and would have to move on to the next town or hamlet. Later on, during the economic difficulties, people, mostly men, would travel looking for work and would often sleep outside and did not have a place to stay and made them homeless. As we know, homelessness is the condition that people have without regular dwelling. The United States Department of Housing and Urban Development states on their website how these people are most often not able to acquire and maintain regular, safe, secure, and adequate housing, or a fixed, regular, and adequate nighttime residence. Also, an estimate of 100 million people worldwide were homeless in 2005. In a study done by thinkprogress.org, in Western countries, the large majority of homeless are men, which is 75 to 80%, where the single males particularly overrepresented. In the United States, LGBT people are overrepresented among homeless youth at 40%.
Sir, can you state your whole name?
My name is Tyree Walker.
You're homeless, correct?
Yeah, unfortunately.
How long have you been homeless for?
I've been homeless as long as I can remember.
And have you been living at Foster Beach your whole life?
Around 10 years.
Do you have any family, Mr. Walker?
Nah, I don't have a kid, but I got a mom and a dad and a little sister.
Do your parents know you're homeless?
Nah, they haven't seen me since they kicked me out.
What caused you to be in the state of homelessness?
Well, I got into trouble with some drugs, angel dust.
Did you ever have a job before?
I tried to get one once, but yeah, I didn't get it.
What caused you to stop trying?
I just failed too many times, so I said, fuck it.
Did you ever give up on life, Mr. Walker?
I live my life every day. I'm not about to quit life.
Do you regret being homeless?
Yeah, I do regret it, but, it's my actions that caused me to be homeless.
Do you receive any government aid, Mr. Walker?
No, I don't get any money from government, no.
So, can you explain to me a little bit about your daily life?
I first started out by waking up and going around asking for money or even food.
What has been your biggest reward from people?
Well, I mostly like when they give me money. I can go buy whatever I want, but I like food too.
Well, thank you, Mr. Walker, for your interview and your time.
All right, later.
People are living on the streets, and we need to do something about it. They have no pillows, blankets, or beds. They live in the streets, under bridges, near ponds, and in boxes. They have no people around them, no money, and no hope. They live every day with no food. They are left to fend for themselves while we take things for granted. We enjoy all of our luxury items, meanwhile they have only survival tools. They rely on their own brains and kindness of a few bystanders to live on. According to Cal Kogan's article, Homeless Count finds lackluster living conditions. Unlike some of the homeless in the city limits, Stevie, Mac, and TJ have a consistent place to live, but the living conditions of their camp are far from ideal. The smell of burning plastic fills the air when the three men cook food on a crate from the store. Their camp has a makeshift shower and a table to hold food and drinks, but even those luxury items will not shield them from the outdoors. Although they have made do with what they can, it is not enough to sustain a life full. Cal Kogan is talking about his encounter with a homeless man. Cal encounters a camp that has food, tent, and an outhouse and a living quarters. Although this man is living such helpful items, he and other homeless people are living life far unfortunate from others. Cal interviews him, asking him many questions about his life, and he gladly answers. Since the people with him are old, he has to be protective over them. Cal wants to help, but there's only so much he can do. As stated from the National Alliance to End Homelessness in their article on health care of the homeless, mental and physical health problems have exacerbated by living on the streets and in shelters. Health conditions that require ongoing treatment, such as diabetes, HIV-AIDS, addiction, and mental illness, are difficult to treat when people are living in shelter or on the streets. Medication can require special steps, including refrigeration or special storage, that can be difficult to execute for people experiencing homelessness. Preventative care can also be difficult for this population to access due to its often prohibited costs. So people experiencing homelessness may wait to seek medical care until a trip to the emergency room is necessary. These people need help from others because the way they are living is killing them, and they cannot stop this. Not in today's society, not alone.
There are many reasons why homeless people end up being homeless, but overall it seems that the case of why many people are homeless is because they were once on drugs and alcohol or had something associated to do with them. There are numerous attempts to get homeless people off the streets and onto a clean path, such as there are the help groups, organizations, and support from families, but many unfortunately wander back onto drugs and alcohol. For some it's an addiction, for others it's a means to get better. According to Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration, 80% of homeless people have experienced lifetime alcohol or drug problems. Another fact, according to the National Coalition for the Homeless, 38% of homeless people were dependent on alcohol and 26% abuse other drugs. Since alcohol and drugs is a result of homelessness, many homeless people cannot afford the treatment or recovery programs that are offered to them, and if they do take these programs, they often end up back in the same place where they started. Has led to the downfall of many of these homeless people. For many, it's too late to get back into their normal lives and back into their families. This is why drugs and alcohol addiction for homeless people is a real problem rather than being out of a job or something else.
With all of these homeless people out in America, there has to be something being done to help end homelessness. There are many organizations and government programs that are trying to end homelessness. One government agency that is doing what they can to end homelessness is the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, or the HHS. Kathleen Sebelius was elected as the chair of the plan to prevent and end homelessness. In the 2012 National Conference on Ending Homelessness, Sebelius said, 2 years ago, 19 federal agencies and 5 cabinet secretaries came together to launch Opening Doors, the first ever federal strategic plan to prevent and end homelessness. This plan was made to have all of the different kinds of programs made to end homelessness to come together and use the same strategy so that there can be permanent changes to how they address homelessness. With this plan, homelessness should end between 2015 to 2020. This plan will help the young children who are homeless and the veterans who became homeless after the wars. These organizations and programs are not the only things that can help end homelessness. We, as citizens of America, can give money to the homeless we see on the streets, or even give them food. Nothing is ever too little to help prevent and end homelessness.